Thanks for joining us for another episode of BRG TV. We've got a special guest for you today. I can't wait to bring him on. So please welcome our guest, Mr. Clay Burris. Hey, Clay, how you doing today, buddy?
Hey, Zach, good to see you.
Oh, I'm so excited to talk to you. People may or may not know that I work daily with you at the office, and it's been my pleasure to join the team. But what a lot of people won't know is that Zach Hill wasn't the first person on the Burris Realty Group. So I'm excited to learn about your journey from going from realtor to team leader and all sorts of things that I have seen and probably a bunch that I haven't. So I'm curious. This is a video about real estate. How'd you ever find real estate, Clay?
Oh, what a fun story. So after college, my wife and I had just moved to the Fishers area for jobs. And I was looking for what I was going to be when I grow up. You think you graduate with a degree and you know exactly what you're going to do, but that didn't really come to fruition for me immediately. I didn't know what I wanted for a career path. But around that time, my wife started her job. Some friends of ours built a house with Arbor Homes here locally. And then we started looking. So we went through a new build process in 2005, I believe it was, on a recommendation from our friends. We had such an awesome experience with the build. And I thought, well, this seems like something I would love to do. So I talked to our salesperson with the builder, and one thing led to another. And suddenly I was in new construction sales working in a model home. And that was where my real estate journey began.
Wow, that's crazy. I know we're both fans of Michael Jordan. Did you still have dreams of making it to the NBA?
Of course. Yeah. At that point in life, 25. Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Yeah. They were probably far-fetched, but
Still
yes.
young and sprightly.
Yeah. I was very good on my college intramural teams and even better in the backyard.
I love it. I've got a championship intramural T-shirt somewhere tucked
Yep.
away.
Yep.
Well, it's interesting, and I know that we have that in common. That at a young age we pick a path in college, and I've often been jealous of people that pick a path that they develop over time. But like many of us in real estate or even just life, your college degree doesn't always lead to exactly what you do on the other side of that. And so I appreciate you sharing that because I have that in common with you as well. So hey, you find that you're interested in real estate. Do you just start buying and selling homes right away, or what's the first open door to you making real estate the umbrella, that word, business for you in your career?
Yeah, it started working in the model homes for a couple of different builders. Our sales rep in our building process introduced me to a few people in the industry that she knew. I went to some interviews, got hired by a company called CP Morgan, which was one of the largest local builders in the area at the time. Went through their training process and found myself in a model home, as any listeners may have been to or at least driven by. If you live in the central Indiana area, there's quite a few communities with models around. So I was the guy that if you walked in the door at a certain community, I would greet you and try and help you find a house and a floor plan that was suitable for you and walk you through the process for those next 5 to 12 months for the build. And it was just really awesome. It fit exactly what I liked and wanted with a career path, because it was very relationship driven. And so I found it very fulfilling and enjoyable. And I thought, okay, this is what I want to do. And one thing led to another. After about 5 years of being very successful in that, the only downside was my wife and I, who were newly married in those first 5 years, never had the same days off. So I was like, how do we fix that, but stay in real estate? And so that's where the journey kind of pivoted into actually a few years in the mortgage business before getting my license, to your question, Zach. In 2011 is when I finally got my license after about 5 years in new construction and a couple years in mortgages.
Yeah, I appreciate you breaking down that part of the journey. There's a couple things that I take away from it, and maybe a listener that's just getting to know you as well is one, you're human. I think if people are meeting you at this point in your career, Burris Realty Group has been successful over a number of years serving people. We always look at it as service over sales, and you certainly lead the way in that. And yet you didn't know out of the gate that realtor is what you were going to be, and Burris Realty Group was going to be the answer. At the same hand, you've also learned a variety of tools inside that real estate umbrella: new home construction, mortgages, etc., on the lending side. And so there's a lot more to you and a lot of our teammates, of course, than just wearing that agent hat. But I'm glad you brought up your family and how that kind of shaped your journey. And I was curious, I don't mean to only talk business. Have you always been in Indianapolis, or certainly that's where we are now, in fact, Fishers, Indiana. But tell us a little bit about how you ended up here where you are.
Yeah, sure. So my wife and I went to the same high school, and we grew up down in southern Indiana, a small town called Mount Vernon, just outside the Evansville area, if anyone's familiar with that part of the state. So grew up there, dated her a few years in high school, then went to the University of Evansville, Purple Aces, if anybody's keeping track at home. We both graduated from there, and we moved to the Indy area, Fishers to be exact, around 2004 when she graduated from college. We both had job opportunities up this way. Mine was in Muncie, Indiana, and hers was in downtown Indianapolis. So Fishers kind of seemed like a sort of halfway-ish, geographically not, but commute-wise was pretty similar with traffic going into downtown versus easy interstate drive up to Muncie. So that's how we landed in Fishers at the time, and we've been here ever since.
That's awesome. Well, no doubt you've seen it change. You've been here certainly longer than I have, and in a short blink of an eye, our city continues to grow and develop and just be a really fun place to live. I want to jump back to business in a second, but as we're unpacking your journey and how you got here, let's talk about Indianapolis for a little bit. I know we have a lot in common, but this podcast and video rather is about you. Tell us a couple things you like about Indianapolis, and that would help the listener or the watcher learn a little bit more about Clay Burris here and what you enjoy.
Zach, I always tell our clients, like, it's to me the perfect size city. It has everything that I like to do. I'm a big sports fan, particularly basketball and football. So we've got the Colts, we've got the Pacers. I love the easy access to being able to go to those type of events and games. But it's not being overcrowded or too much traffic to get there. If you're comparing it to a bigger market like Chicago or New York City, etc., we don't have quite the complications that the larger metro areas have, but have a lot of the amenities. Is how I say it. So love going to games downtown. Love our downtown area as a whole. A lot of events come through Indy because of our location, kind of centrally located in the U.S. here. So we get Final Fours and big conventions and things like that. So those are always fun to enjoy as a local resident who can hop downtown and take part in some of those larger events, all the way to the traditions of the Indianapolis 500. Where one of the largest sporting events in the world, or single day sporting events in the world, is right here. So from that level to being able to see concerts and larger musical acts as they come through the city, we just really enjoy. It's a small but big town, big enough town, but not too big, I guess.
No, that's really well said. That's something. Well, a lot of those points you made, we're certainly enjoying ourselves and agree. So. It's been fun to even get to try on some of those for the first time with you and our group of friends. So I agree. And I love that answer. Thank you so much for sharing that, Clay.
Sure.
So, hey, we know today it's the Burris Realty Group. So, can we transition now? You're in Indianapolis, you're setting up shop, you're kind of finding your way, you're happy here. So, at the time of recording, we have already recorded one with our teammate and friend Travis.
Mhm.
And he talks about meeting you when it was just the Burris Realty individual. And I had to laugh when he brought that up. Can you talk to us about how you went from just yourself to starting a team?
Yeah, I think it's always been how can I serve my clients the best?
Mhm.
And it came a point a few years into having my real estate license where I was fortunate enough to be getting busy and successful to where I hit this kind of threshold where I didn't feel like I alone would be able to serve my clients to the level that I wanted to unless I either got help or turned away business. And uh, Zach, as you've gotten to know me, I'm a fairly competitive person. So turning away business and stopping growth is not in my nature. So it really became a business decision to look to grow and to a team at that point. How can I get help to do some of these things, take them off my plate so that I continue to serve the client at the level I hope to serve them at? And the team has kind of just formed from that mindset ever since, growing from one person initially to the seven full-time members that we have now. So
I know, oh, there's so many follow-up questions to ask. But as we have a chance through this YouTube channel to get to know the team collectively, for the person that's just meeting us or wants to learn more about us, they're going to see our names and different things. So I'm curious, as the name on the team, as our leader, what are a couple things you've maybe enjoyed as the team has formed, something that you didn't necessarily plan on? And then let's just be real and talk about some of the challenges too, and how we work through that almost on a daily basis to continue to put our best effort out to serve our clients.
yeah, I think the most exciting part, Zach, for me, as I said, the team kind of came from a need to serve our clients better. What I didn't realize, I think, when I brought on the first person to start, was the enjoyment I would get out of approaching real estate as a team and having teammates to come to the office with, chit chat. Tackle the challenges that this industry brings together instead of alone.
Yeah.
All of that was kind of the unforeseen part of the journey that I didn't form the team for that. It was formed to serve our clients, but as a benefit to me personally, and a surprise was, gosh, it's just a lot of fun hanging out with the team. Fortunate enough to have a great group to where we do some things socially together outside of work. All the way to team meetings on Mondays, to just being in the office on a daily basis with you and other members of the group, to where we can throw ideas off of each other, complain about a tough situation, and work through all those things, not as an individual, but as a group. And then on the flip side, you asked about challenges. I think where the challenges come in is you've got 7 different people, 7 different personalities now. So, those always pose challenges from time to time. To the size determines strategy is a famous line that Zach Hill here uses a lot. That it really is true, though. We've had to change some of our strategies on how we're handling things internally, externally, client-facing things. So constantly adapting, I guess, would be the challenge that comes from a group this size, from a space. Where do we work? Where do we sit? How do we manage communication internally? How do we manage it externally, and so on?
Yeah. Well, you're such a humble leader, Clay. I knew you again after the group was already formed, and if anyone's even catching it, right now you're not even using teammate names. You're just speaking to us as a group, whether you were the first agent on the team or the newest. And that just speaks to your character and how you lead us, never picking sides, never picking favorites, but saying, how can we as Burris Realty Group serve our clients and enjoy doing that together? But really, who's your favorite agent on the team? I'm just kidding.
I don't have one. The one
know.
that sells the next house, Zach.
There you go. I love it. I was getting too mushy for a second. So it really is exciting because now, many years down into the journey, you've reached a level of service, and many will use success in the industry equaling sales, but I know you don't see it that way. You continue to serve people, and the success comes from is when clients become friends, and those friends come back to you to say, you served us well, we enjoyed the process, thank you. Hey, we're getting ready to move again and we'd like to work with you. Or they enjoyed it to the point where they want you to serve their friend, because now it's become a referral business where we can grow. That is what I know you see success is, not the numbers in black and white, but the families that are impacted. And so is there anything else you'd want to say about your journey in real estate, or where you're going as an agent or our team, just in that general line of service and what we're doing to try to continue to bring people back, not just to boost our numbers, but to give them the best service in real estate?
You couldn't have said it much better. I mean, that's what I've built my business on from day one as an individual agent, and that's really what we try and coach our team to do as well. We don't, for those of you who don't know, we don't really buy leads online or have this heavy focus for lead generation in a lot of the avenues that are available to us, where we pay for leads or try and get them through social media, advertising, etc. Here and there, we'll do a little bit of it, but the main focus of my business is exactly what you said. It's been relationships and developing a client base that knows, likes, and trusts us from the business that we've done in the past, and feeling comfortable to refer their friends and family. And that's how our business has grown. And gosh, that makes it so much more enjoyable to me, because most of the leads that we're working with aren't cold. They were recommended to us. Maybe they're already a friend or family. Maybe they're a repeat client that we were able to serve a few years ago, and now we have the opportunity to serve them again. But that makes it more enjoyable to me, because, you know, they always say, if you like to work with somebody, so say I had a great time working with this client through their last transaction. If I get to work with them again, that's great, because I know it's going to be another fun experience for hopefully everyone involved if I'm doing my job. But when they refer their friends and family, they're probably referring people that are similar to them. So I get to work with a lot of people that I really like. And gosh, that makes coming to work, most days, it doesn't seem like work, which is what I love about where my career has gone, where the team is right now. Is most days it's not work. It's just serving others and getting to hang out with people I really like being around.
Well, I'll say it again. You're in a position where you've built a business that will come back in our industry. We say feed itself through referrals. And what I appreciate so much about your leadership is you continue to push forward. You continue to adapt and grow. For someone that's been in the business a while now, you're certainly reaching that veteran status, if not already in it, compared to a lot of new agents or just a few years into it, so to speak. And so when I look at the Burris Realty Group, I see that there was the journey for Clay figuring out real estate and finding that was your niche and how you were going to be the best at that you could be. And then the team organically came together and has grown. And I'm so grateful to be a part of that. Recognizing that this is a Burris Realty Group video, there is a third incarnation of your business, of your leadership, and something that's been built to continue to grow how we can serve our clients. And I'm curious if, however you want to choose to talk about it, Clay, what would you say to unpack what BRG Plus is, something that's new that we offer everybody in our sphere wanting to work with us in a variety of ways.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, Zach. For those of you who don't know, BRG Plus was kind of created last year in 2022. And that what it is a collection of two other companies that serve alongside Burris Realty Group. In the property management space, we have Shield Property Management for our investors, and then Total Home Services, which is our handyman contractor business. And both of those were created along the same lines that we've been talking, Zach. A need to serve clients and trying to find ways to do so better, not only during the transaction, but after the transaction. And so both of those companies were kind of, the ideas were created around, okay, how can we serve a homeowner better or an investor client better after we've found them their investment house or after they've moved into their house that they're calling their primary residence. And we've just came to, well, you know, the services that were falling short for us on the referral side were property management and contractors, getting people to show up and help our clients, being able to confidently refer a contractor to them that's going to show up on time, treat them in a way that we would expect to treat them from our business side, and continue the relationship going forward. So both of those companies were kind of spun last year out of just wanting to continue to serve clients better for no other reason than that. So we now have both of those up and running, proudly to say, in a really positive manner. We're just approached a year anniversary on the one, and the other is coming up here in the next month or so. So two new businesses that kind of fall into the BRG umbrella, and we're calling it BRG Plus, but really from the client side of things, just another way to serve you at a similar level that we do through the real estate transaction just after you bought the house.
Yeah, 100%. And really well said. You didn't know any of these questions, honestly. These are just candid conversations. And so I really appreciate you bringing that up. And I'll just add that we have a team cooked into what we do at Burris Realty Group to make sure that adding more business doesn't dilute our service, but rather supports our service and tries to give you 110% to the client, to the friend, to the referral that you deserve. So really well done and said, Clay. And of course, if anybody has further questions, they can reach out to us. There's contact information in the video description below.
Yeah.
Well, hey, I wanted to talk about real estate today. I wanted to talk about Indianapolis and how we weave in and out of both of those. Get to know you again as a person, Clay. And before we hit the lightning round, I'm just curious, is there anything that you were hoping we'd touch on today that we haven't talked about yet?
I would say the only thing would be, I don't want to leave them out, is because I couldn't do it without them, is that's my family, from my awesome wife who supports me every day, from the journey since college, all the way through. She makes this possible. And certainly our son, Bryce, brings a lot of joy to our lives daily, all the way through to our extended family, parents, and everybody who's been super supportive of me over the years. So would not go without saying or giving them a little bit of a shout out as we wrap up today, Zach.
That is awesome. And I know many and love many of them. So that is so cool, Clay. And I appreciate you giving them a shout. Well, hey, let's do the speed round. This is where we get to know a little bit about you in a fun manner before we get out of here. And the first one, I think you're going to struggle with, I'll be honest, but maybe not. What's your favorite band, Clay Burris?
No, I actually have that one. Dave Matthews Band. Easy answer. Been to close to 30 shows live, and it's my favorite weekend of the summer when they come to town. So.
Yep, I know that about you 100%, and I know you're a big music fan. So for somebody to claim that in your life, that in fact is fandom. So DMB. All right, let's do this one. Favorite movie?
Oh, that's the hard one, Zach. That's the hard one. I love a lot of movies, mostly on the comedy front and mostly as I was growing up. So I will say that we aren't huge moviegoers as a family, so we're not going to a lot of movies in the theaters nowadays, other than kids' movies sometimes with Bryce, of course. From Adam Sandler comedies back in the day through I don't know, Will Ferrell and Jim Carrey, and I don't know. There's a whole slew of movies in that era that I would throw into my top 5 or 10, and I don't even know how I'd rate them. It really depends on how I feel that day. So that
Clay,
is a hard question for me.
what is your favorite movie for the
What
rest
is my
of the time
favorite
in
movie?
this YouTube video?
I can't dance around it any longer. If you had to make me pick one at the moment, I'll say Forrest Gump.
There you go. That's fun. Hey, this is the worst question I can ask because I never say it well. But if you had to pick a book or a podcast, what comes to mind to help you be the best version of yourself?
I read a lot of books. Well, let me rephrase that. I don't enjoy reading books, but I enjoy reading books for personal or professional development side. So I've read quite a few. I don't know that I have a clear-cut favorite on that front. But on the podcast front, I follow Brian Buffini pretty regularly, and actually do some coaching through their services as well. So that's probably the one I'll answer your question with, because that's the one I'm used or listen to get content from and advice from the most.
I love it. I love it. Well, maybe these are in a bad order, but hey, if you get a chance to go out to eat, where is Clay Burris going to pick to go out to eat?
Ooh, I love going out to eat. So this is going to be similar to the movie one. So many good places around town, and many I haven't explored, which is shameful after living here nearly 19 years. So where am I going to be though? Parks Place Pub. I'll give a shout out to them because some dear friends started that place recently, and I'm there quite a bit. So Parks Place Pub.
I love it. Great answer. I'll see you there. All right. In this one, you just choose whatever you want to say, whatever you feel comfortable sharing. But Clay, last question for you is, what's one goal you have for yourself that you can't wait to achieve?
Ooh.
Simple or big?
We have my wife and I have a strategy or a goal on increasing our real estate investments. So I'll answer with that, being the real estate podcast or video here. We're trying to grow our portfolio, I guess you would say, on average about one property each year. So we have 3 right now, rented and under management, with some goals of some short-term rental goals, and maybe even a property flip or 2 if the opportunities present themselves right in the next coming years. So there you go. That's our target for the short term.
That was perfect, man. You did a great job. I know how much you love being on video.
Yeah, love being on video all the time. Love questions that I don't know the answers or don't know that are coming and don't have time to prepare for either,
Well, everyone that doesn't know, this may not be your sweet spot. You did a great job. And on behalf of the team, I want to say thank you. Thanks for being a leader that inspires us, that we trust, and that we have a lot of fun with. I think that's very hard to find one, let alone all 3. So we appreciate you, Clay. Thanks for taking some time out of your day to join us on the video. And with that, I'm going to say goodbye.
Yeah, thank you, Zach. Appreciate you putting this series together for the team and having me a part of it.
Sounds good, buddy. Well, hey, everybody out there on BRG TV, make sure that you share this with somebody you might think would benefit them, or watch another one in our series. And we'll see you next time. Take care, everybody.